Let's go ahead and learn how to convert measurements. So before we start, you are allowed to use calculators on these problems. So if you don't have one, please go right now to the back bookshelves and borrow one from the bins labeled calculator so that you have this. You will want them for these problems. We'll use them throughout all these problems. You can use calculators, but we will be setting up the proportions. So pause your video and go get a calculator if needed. If you have one already, go ahead and have it ready to go. For all these problems, we will still set up the proportion. We'll use the calculator to actually do the math. And then if needed, we will round to the nearest hundredth. So we'll talk about that when we get there, okay? So the first thing I want you to look at on here is these conversion charts. So we're going to use these over and over and over again because no one needs to memorize these conversions. We just need to be able to use the chart, okay? So real quick, couple things about the chart before we use them. Is we have customary measurements. Remember we talked about in 1A how customary is the system that we use in the United States, but metric is the one that everyone else pretty much uses. So unfortunately, since we have not all switched to the metric measurement system, we have to learn how to convert back and forth. So sometimes we'll use this chart, which is within the same system. So like feet to inches, pounds to ounces, cups to fluid ounces, things like that. That's within the customary measurement system. Whereas with metric, like kilometers to meters, kilograms to grams, liters to milliliters, that kind of thing is going to be within metric. Whereas this chart is going between the customary measurements and the metric measurements, going back and forth. And we'll talk more about that in some mini lessons, but for now I just wanted you to know that's what those charts were. So we'll have to find the units on here to start setting up a proportion, okay? So I'm going to help you out with these first couple. We got 6 that we're going to do, so I know this one's going to be a little longer, but it's going to help you out. So the first problem we have here is 4,000 milligrams. We want to know, okay, how many grams is that going to be? So the very first thing we're going to do on all of these, other than the line equals line, is that we are going to find the conversion from milligrams to grams. Milligrams is going to be mg. Grams is going to be G. So look on the chart, it's going to be over here. And if you look, it's going to be right here is where we're looking. You're just going to have to practice using these charts. As you practice, you'll get more familiar where things are. If you're ever not sure, please ask and we can help point you in the right direction. So that's what I'm going to write first. And just like if you notice, it's kind of like when we did our unit rate. So it really doesn't matter which one goes on top and bottom, but to keep consistency, we're going to say that we want 1,000 milligrams over 1 gram. Okay, so we're just taking the conversion from the chart and putting it on one side. And then whatever they tell us in the problem is going to be placed on the other side. So since they tell us 4,000 milligrams, we're going to put that on the top on the other side. And we're trying to figure out, okay, how many grams will that be? So this would be our proportion that we set up. So now if you don't know what to multiply or divide by, you can always check in your calculator and you can work backwards and divide. But we should know that to get from 1,000 to 4,000, the only thing that changed was the 4. So we are doing times 4 for this one. If you weren't sure, you can always do 4,000 divided by 1,000, and that would give you your answer. Okay? So we're doing times 4, and if we do it to the top, we got to do it to the bottom. And so we end up with 4 grams as our answer. So this would be the work that shows that. You can do the work in the calculator, but this would be the proportion that we need to set up still. All right, let's try another one. So we've got 17C, C means cups. And then FLOZ is fluid ounces. So we're going to look at the chart and see where we can see cups and fluid ounces. And if you take a moment to look, you end up finding it right there. Again, if you need help finding them, please feel free to ask. So we're going to set this up first. We're going to have 8 fluid ounces over 1 cup. That's the first side. Make sure your notes look just like mine. And then we're going to fill in what we know on the other side. Well, they tell us 17 cups, so we're going to put that on the bottom, right? We're going from 1 cup to 17 cups. So to go from 1 to 17, we're just multiplying by 17. And if we do it to the bottom, then we do it to the top. So go ahead and use your calculator and do 17 times 8 in your calculator once you have your notes set up. If you need to pause the video, feel free. But you should have gotten 136 as your answer. So it'll be 136 fluid ounces. Okay, let's try another one here. So we've got 5 kilograms to grams. So we're going from kilograms to grams. So we want to look for that on here. And if you look, it's in metric right here with mass. So we want 1,000, I'm sorry, I know I kind of have it messed up, but 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. That's going to be our first side. We're just taking that from the chart and putting it in our proportion. And then we know 5 kilograms. Well, that's going to go on bottom because kilograms is on bottom here. So we're trying to get to 5 kilograms. And I know to get from 1 to 5, we do times 5. And if you do it to the bottom, we do it to the top. Now, if you need to use your calculator, feel free. But this one, we should know that 1,000 times 5 is just going to be 5,000. So it'll be 5,000 grams. Okay, let's try just a couple more. So these next ones you're really going to have to use your calculator for. We're still using the charts and we're still setting up the same way, but you may need to use your calculators a little more on these. So this one we have centimeters to inches. So this is going from metric to customary. So that's going to be over here. So if you look, it's this very first one. Okay, there we go. And so we are going to set up the 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch like that. And then we know that it's 6 centimeters, so that needs to go on top across from these centimeters. So now we don't know how to get from 2.54 to 6. Like, that's not going to be very easy. So we're going to work backwards and divide. So what we're doing is we're actually going to start on this side, and we're going to take 6 divided by 2.54. Whatever our answer is for that, that's going to be our answer for this problem, because we'd turn around and we would just multiply 1 by that, and that's just going to be that answer. So since we didn't know what to multiply by, that's why we're working backwards and dividing. You can do that for all these problems. So go ahead and take your calculator, and I want you to do 6 divided by 2.54. So go ahead and do that in your calculator. I'm doing it too. And when you get your answer, you probably got some long answer like 2.3622, on and on and on. So remember how we said we were going to round to the nearest hundredth. That's what we always want to do. And so, one moment. Okay, so we want to round to the nearest hundredth. So if you look at your calculator, it says 2.36. So the 6 would be the hundredth, so you got to look to the next door neighbor, so to the 2. And the 2 is going to make the 6 stay the same. So our answer should be 2.36 inches. Okay? If you're having trouble rounding, please ask and we can help. Let's try 2 more problems and it's going to be all you. So this one we're doing kilograms to pounds. So we got to look on our chart, and right here is kilograms to pounds. Okay? So we're going to set up 0.454 kilograms over 1 pound, which equals to 15 kilograms, and kilograms is on top, so we're going to put that on top. And again, I don't know how to get from 0.454 to 15, so we're going to work backwards and divide. Okay, so our problem is going to be 15 divided by 0.454. Go ahead and type that in your calculator. If you need to pause the video, feel free. And again, you get a big, long, crazy answer. So we're going to we're going to keep the 33.0. And now that 3, we need to look one more number to the right, which is a 9. So we're going to have that 9 is going to bump the 3 up, because, right, 5 or more, let it soar. So the 9 makes the 3 bump up, so our answer would be 33.04. Okay, we got one more. I know it's been a long video, but this is setting up your foundation for the rest of this. So the next one is kilometers to miles, or you can say kilometers too. So that's going to be right here. If I can get my circle to show up, there we go. 1 mile equals about 1.61 kilometers. And so we're setting that up first. They tell us 60 kilometers, so that's going on top. I do not have any idea how to get from 1.61 to 60, so I'm going to work backwards and divide. So we're going to do 60 divided by 1.61. Go ahead and do that in your calculator. And again, you get this big, crazy long number. See why we should just switch to metric? Do you see how crazy these numbers are? We wouldn't even have to be doing this if we were all metric. That's my little plug there. So if you look, we're going to look at the 6. And if you look to the right, the 7 is going to make the 6 bump up. So our answer is 37.27. Okay. Again, if you need any help with rounding, please ask. If you're still having trouble setting up the problems, also ask. But you have some practice to go do. This is just a little snippet from your notes. You should have the charts on there. You should have a table of 9. But if you look, it says choose at least 4 problems from the 9 below. So you do not need to do all of them. You need to do 4. You can use a calculator, but you must show the proportion just like we did. And if needed, round to the nearest hundredth. Good luck. You can do it.